This is Pace the Nation.
When you climb up that hill, well, eventually you'll come down. Got the winds at your back, you never wear a frown. You're waiting on that second wind to begin to kick in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into Pace the Nation, broadcasting back here at Studio 1A in downtown Arlington, Virginia. We are back in the heart of all things, of course. In my world, that's Clarendon. I'm Chris Farley, back again for episode 269 of Pace the Nation. A big episode to get to today. Excited to have you join us. I am flying solo today. I don't know if I've flown solo, for any of these episodes, any of these 268 episodes previous to this one. But here I am on my maiden voyage, flying solo here on episode 269. We do have an exciting guest we're going to get to, so it's not going to be just me yapping away for the next 45 minutes. We got an exciting guest to get to today. Scheduling conflict, a lot of things going on. Julie could not join us. So she will be back next week. We've got two really good shows here. Well, actually, I've got three today's and then two shows in the future that we're really excited about. She'll be on those next few shows. But today, before we get to our guest, I just wanted to reflect for just a moment. This time of year, we have our all-staff meeting at Pacers Running. And we had it on Sunday night as we record here on Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, March 29th. And, it's in front of all of our staff or all of our stakeholders. And I told a story, and I tell this story every year about how I got into the business, how I started working at Pacers in 1999. And it kind of struck me that, man, I've been at this thing for a while, working at the store since 1999, purchased the store in 2003. We've had this podcast for 6 years. So been doing it for a long time. And there's just a lot of great connections, a lot of great experiences throughout the 20 plus years that I've been with this Pacers Running organization. So I was doing a little reflecting on that. One of my buddies who chimed in on the podcast, I thought was really funny. He said, Farley, you're pitching this every time. I love your show. You're pitching this new business of relay, which is all about sustainability, and you're saving the planet and you're saving shoes and all that stuff. But every time I tune into Pace the Nation, you've got this plastic water bottle. Do I need to give you a reusable water bottle? I thought it was a good point. So Brian, today I'll be sipping from my Pace the Nation mug. And no more plastic water bottles for me. So, and I've probably known Brian for 15 of the 20 years that 20 plus years I've been working at Pacers. And then another person popped up this past week, a longtime friend, an old friend of mine, not an old friend because he's my age and we're not old, but a friend who I've known pretty much when we started the business. His name is Mike Gugat, and he's the reason why we were able to secure this guest this week. I put out there on LinkedIn, on Twitter, to the audience, hey, who do you think we should interview next on Pace the Nation? And we got a lot of really good suggestions that we're following up on currently. So thank you for everybody who chimed in. So Mike, good friend, started this company, Jaybirds, and they were crowdsourcing funding. And I was quick to throw in some money for it because they're building kids' shoes. And I've got more kids than anybody. Well, so there's days I feel like I got more kids than anybody, but we definitely are in the market for kids' shoes. So threw in some money on this crowdsource funding, and he connected me with another old friend of his, Ron Wayne. So Ron Wayne has been in the business for longer than Mike and I combined. He worked at Nike, he worked at Mizuno, and Mike said, Ron is really connected with this professional runner for Nike. His name is Cooper Teare. And I said, Cooper Teare, he's like one of the best runners in the world right now. And Mike said, I think Ron can connect you with Cooper and get him on the show. So sure enough, through Mike, talked to Ron, had a great discussion with Ron. We caught up in about an hour discussion. He told me about his connection with Cooper. Ron connected me with Cooper's dad, who I talked to Dave Teare for a long time about Cooper growing up and how he became the runner that he is. And I then text back and forth with Cooper. And so we've secured this interview. So really excited. Cooper is just a star runner, literally one of the best in the world right now. A week ago, he ran 13:06 for 5,000 meters. And that, is one of the best times in the world right now. He's a professional runner for Nike. He's a collegiate record holder. And my interaction with him and his dad, just a really good kid. 22 years old, went to the University of Oregon. Like I said, collegiate record holder in the mile and the distance medley, relay as well. He finished fourth at the 2020 Olympic trials, just out of a spot on the Olympic team. And so, his story has been told a number of times through outlets and podcasts out there. But today we're going to kind of tell the story of how Cooper became the runner he is today. A big year for Cooper, a big year for all these professional runners. The World Championships are happening in Eugene, Oregon. As you can see over my shoulder, for those who are watching on the video, I've got my Eugene, Oregon World Championships poster up. So World Champs trials are in Cooper's hometown of Eugene, Oregon. So a big year for Cooper. So with that, I want to give thanks to Mike. I want to give thanks to Ron. I want to give thanks to Dave. I'm going to bring in one of the best runners in the world right now, Cooper Teare. He joins us next here on Pace the Nation.
Pace the Nation is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 6 stores in Northern Virginia and D.C. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
All right, welcome back to the program. And now we are excited to be joined across the country from Alameda, California. It's Cooper Teare. Cooper, how are you?
Doing well. Yeah, no complaints.
Thanks so much for joining us. And it is Alameda, California, right? Am I correct?
Correct.
I'm very geographically challenged. So your parents live in Alameda and you live in Eugene. Like, what's going on? Where do you live right now?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Alameda. I've lived here pretty much all my life. But then, I went up to Eugene for college and, post-collegiate now, but still in kind of the same training situation. So, yeah, I'm based out of Eugene right now, kind of doing all my running and a lot of my meets up there.
Awesome.
Back at Hayward and
coached by Ben Thomas still, your collegiate coach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Awesome.
Ben's still my coach. We got a little kind of post-collegiate group set up in Eugene. So, yeah, it works, and it's, kind of really smooth transition from what I was doing in college.
Oh, dude, you've been on fire, man. And we're going to get to kind of what you're doing now, and congratulations on the 13:06, which is just insane. And tell our audience, I mean, maybe maybe not, like, how fast per mile is that? Our audience maybe doesn't know the elite world as well as some others. How fast a mile is that?
I think it's around 4:10. 4:10 or so.
That's insane. That was awesome. So you and your teammate Cole Hawker ran that. We're gonna talk about that. But man, I've really enjoyed talking to your family friend Ron Wayne and your dad Dave Teare. And so let's go back. Let's tell the story of Cooper Teare. I'm going to start back. Because I talked to both Ron and your dad about you growing up there in Alameda. You were kind of a t-ball, soccer, basketball, lacrosse. You did a little every sport. It wasn't necessarily like you were this junior track champion right away, correct?
No, yeah, not at all. I mean, I grew up, my parents were really supportive of kind of anything I wanted to do. And I essentially just did all the stuff my friends were doing. Played baseball, soccer, basketball. I mean, any sport you could really think of, I probably did it at least once. So yeah, I would just say I was a pretty active kid. And, I figured I'd find whatever it would be. For a while, I thought it might be basketball. For a while, I thought it might be soccer. And then yeah, I started getting into some other stuff, some triathlon type stuff, and eventually, I just kind of found my niche and found my community in running through some friends, and kind of just went with it, rolled with it from there, and it's got me
So,
here.
and I want to stay kind of in the Wayback Machine right now. Your grandfather was a star high school runner, and probably could have been a stud like you. And Chris, I want you to show a couple pictures of these medals and your grandfather running. Um, a regional champion, state champion out of Michigan. Did you know that about your grandfather? And so your grandfather was a runner? Did you know that? And number two, were your parents runners?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't really find that out about my grandpa until I started becoming kind of following in the same footsteps. And then I don't remember how we stumbled upon it, but found his medals from when he won the mile and the Michigan State Championships, like 1950 or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, didn't really know. And then, my dad was a good runner in his own right. He ran like 4:41 as a freshman in high school, but
Nice.
he played basketball and stuff, and he had a couple injuries, so it didn't end up kind of all materializing into anything. But yeah, I think it kind of ran in my family. I had an uncle who was really good at running as well. So at the end of the day, I think we just are a pretty athletic family.
Yep. Right.
And yeah, we had a little bit of background in running, and I just took to it and ran with it.
So again, Chris, you show this picture again of his grandfather running. I mean, it's an awesome, it's an awesome pic your dad sent me, and we'll put that over the video version of this podcast. So fifth grade, and this is coming from Ron and your dad. You ran a 2 mile race, and it was probably in Alameda there, and your parents probably didn't know that you were one of the top runners or didn't realize, that you like you said, you did all these other sports, but you and Gavin Hill were like the top runners in this race. Can you recall that race, and can you recount it for our audience?
Yeah, for sure. It was there's a little shoreline that runs down and overlooks the bay, and there was a little out and back, 1 mile out, do a loop, and 1 mile back, and Gavin was kind of the guy to beat when it came to running.
Who's the
When
star?
yeah, no, I remember he went to the elementary school opposite of mine, and there was a day specifically when all the elementary schools would come and hang out at this park together, and I remember that's, I think, the first time I met him. Didn't like him. Um, and and then we did this race, and after, he probably wiped the floor with me, and then
Right.
um and
Is
then
that why you
he was
didn't like him? Because he could kick
probably,
your butt?
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But then after that, yeah, we talked after that race, and started talking to his dad, and kind of just became friends, and they started taking me to practices in Castro Valley, which was kind of the closest track club, and that was pretty established. And from there, we became best friends, inseparable, and he kind of paved the way for my running journey, and he was better than me for a couple years
Wow.
following that, and from there, I think that's what gave me the initial motivation to want to be better, and kind of take it seriously and take it to the next level.
But we kind of touched on it, but you were thinking triathlon. So as a youth, did you do some triathlons?
Yeah, I did a bunch. I remember I had two
Could you
friends.
swim? Could you swim
Uh,
at all?
I did like a swim team for probably 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and I
Okay.
hated it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, triathlon was like a really good eye opener when it came to running, because I would go and I would be like last out of the pool, and at a certain point when you're that young, nobody's any better than anyone at biking. So it would all come down to the end when we would run, and I would just like come from nowhere and win some of these races. And there was like a whole circuit of it. And I remember, I think I was like second overall in my age group for the circuit one year, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, I suck at swimming. I'm nothing crazy at biking, so maybe running's the thing I should stick with. And yeah, that was kind of all throughout elementary and middle school, and from there, I think once I get to high school, I realized that that was kind of my calling, and that's what I should
And
pursue.
before you got to high school, you still weren't specializing. Like you did some junior track stuff that I want to ask you about, but you weren't specializing. You're doing other sports still, correct?
Yeah, I was doing a bunch of stuff. I mean,
That's
I
cool.
was playing basketball. I was playing. I mean, soccer. I think was probably my main sport. I was never great at it, but all my friends played, and I was on a pretty good team that ended up winning like a state cup title for our kind of junior whatever
Mhm.
division, which was really good. But again, I wasn't getting a bunch of playing time. I wasn't scoring goals. I was kind of just having fun being there with all my friends, and then um, I was kind of just happy with being average at it. And then I found that I don't have to be average in
Right,
running,
right.
and so that was a big draw.
So I want to ask about Ron. So when Ron said he saw you doing other sports, playing volleyball, and he said, "Who's this lanky, tall kid? I wonder if he's a volleyball." Ron worked in the at Mizuno at the time, and they did a lot with volleyball. So maybe he saw you as a volleyball prodigy or volleyball potential player. Do you remember meeting Ron Wayne, who was a amazing runner in his own right and had a long career in the running industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was at this same house right out front, and I was actually with Gavin, and we were just tossing around the volleyball, and we had some friends that played volleyball, so we would just kind of have fun with it. And he
Yep.
comes up, he goes, "You guys play volleyball?" And I was like, "Oh no, no, like we run track."
Right.
He
Right.
goes, "Oh my god, that's even better." And he looks up, and I had I think I still have it. I had the like Oregon sticker in my window, and he looks up, he goes, Oregon, that's cool. I was like, yeah, I mean, I love Oregon. I mean, best running school. I love Prefontaine, all this stuff. And he goes, his eyes just
Right.
widened, and he was like, okay, this is cool. And then I think he started talking to my parents a little bit, just because I mean, he literally lives a block away. So
That's
we kind of went from there, and he very quickly became a really good mentor for me. And it's just like opened my eyes to the world of track. I think I was always sort of a fan and I liked the idea of it, but it wasn't until I really met him that um, I kind of realized how big of a community it is and what all is out there and the history behind it.
Yep. And for our audience, Ron Wayne, again, long history in this industry, working for Nike and working for Mizuno, a neighbor of yours, which is crazy, but a star runner at Oregon as well, correct?
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
Ron was really good in his own right. He was on some great teams. I mean, he was on the team with Prefontaine. He sends out. I think it's so funny. He sends out Christmas cards every year, and a lot of them have old iconic photos. There's one with him and Pre. There's one with him and like Alan Webb, and yeah, he's just like. I mean, he's been around the block. He's
yeah,
as seasoned as anyone else.
yeah, he's a great guy to have on your block and a great guy to have as your mentor. Your dad was saying that, and I've got three boys of my own that are really young, so I'm like, I just was really idolizing this because, or I was really excited to hear this that you guys would run road races together, and then you would watch like the Prefontaine movie the night before the races. True or not true? Is this like something that your dad just conjured up in his mind because he wanted that to be the case, or did that really happen?
No, I think it did happen. I mean, we have on the garage we have a VHS player, a TV with, and we have like 10 VHSs, and two of them are like Prefontaine movies. And
Nice.
I used to just sit out there while my dad was working and just sit on the couch and watch him over and over and over. And I don't think he was like trying to make something come to fruition
Right.
from it. It just like ended up being I was so interested in it, and I felt like it was sort of a calling for me. And from there, like I was like, why would I not watch it? Like this is literally my idol. And yeah, it was just like, I don't know, it was a really cool experience. And the more I look back on it, the more I think like, how did this happen? Like everything kind of fell into place without
Yeah.
it even like us even trying to do it that way.
It is crazy. Your dad mentioned that as well. So I think your dad said the moment he thought, okay, this is Cooper's more than just, and again, I'm talking to Cooper Teare, who's one of the best runners in the world right now, 13:06 5K last week at Stanford, where he realized that you were just more, that's running thing was more than just a little hobby or something that he realized it was something that could take you places, was in seventh grade when you went to Myrtle Beach for a junior Olympics event. Um, do you remember a moment that you thought, wow, okay, maybe I can run? where Pre ran, where Ron ran at places like the University of Oregon? Do you remember when that light bulb hit?
Yeah, I don't think at all it was in 7th grade when I was in middle school. I ran so badly there. I think I got like 150th or something in that race.
Right.
And it was like Junior Olympics. It was kind of like the national meet for younger kids. And I mean, it wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't like a oh my God moment.
Right.
Like this is what I'm gonna do. I think that came a little later down the line. Probably, I think it was probably my freshman year. That's in high school. That's when I made probably the biggest strides. I went from running 5:02 in the mile to 4:32. And, right off the bat, I was on a team that my freshman year won a California state title, which is, I mean, very hard to do.
Yep.
And basically from there, I think I was the third or fourth guy on my team on a really solid team and just made huge strides my freshman year, going from, running, taking it somewhat seriously to actually going on to a legitimate high school team.
Hmm.
I think it just showed me those huge strides that I could make, and from there, you get a little taste of that success, and you just want to roll with it.
Yep.
So from then on, I think I was hooked, and um, there was a couple times where I just figured I was like, okay, I'm one of the top freshmen in California,
Hmm.
and then I became one of the top sophomores in the country, and then so on and so forth. And I think it was that transition from like middle school to high school and really taking it seriously that showed me that I could get to the next level.
So we've had and we're friends with Reinhard Harrison. Do you know Reinhard? He's going
Yeah,
to
of
is he
course.
at Oregon now? Is he going to
No, he'll be
he'll
there
be
in the
there
fall.
next year. So star runner. He wants to be the next Cooper Teare. So, like great kid who ran all our road races. But what's interesting to me, he grew up here in this DC area, moved to Florida ultimately. But what was interesting to me was he was a stud. Like I guess better than what you were at the Junior Olympic stuff. So to me, I guess there are two paths.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I know guys who were running 420 in 8th grade and,
Mhm.
409 as a freshman in high school. I wasn't that way. I took a little more long-term approach to it. I think,
Yeah.
and for me, I think it was really good. I was never pushed to do anything I didn't want to do.
Mhm.
And at the root of it, I was just having fun with it. And I was just enjoying the process of just learning kind of how it works. And it was kind of fun to not be the best. It gave me something to work
Hmm.
towards. And it was also, there was no pressure to, go out there and win every race. And once I did start winning races, I found that, maybe it's good that I didn't start doing it off the bat. I had to go through some trials and tribulations and kind of get my butt whooped for a little while. And then, next thing you know, you get a little taste of running fast and winning races, and you don't want it to stop. And I think, yeah, having the realization that maybe I wasn't the best right away,
Mhm.
just pushed me to work harder in practice. And um, yeah, again, once you get a taste of it, you don't want it to
Oh
stop.
yeah,
So
and I think for Reinhardt too, we talked to him when he was injured, right? So he's had these ups and downs too. He was a stud, Junior Olympics stud in high school, obviously, but he's had his ups and downs, and that seems to drive the great athletes, the downs, the injuries, the
yeah,
troubles that you have, the losses that you have. Um, you haven't had too many, but I do want to touch on a couple with you. But before we, before because I think that is always an important part of the story is the success that you have through some failures that you have along the way. Um, so you're recruited. You like you said, you realize freshman year, you're like, okay, I'm a good runner now. I get this. Was there any other question? Was it a question that it was going to be anything other than Eugene? If you could get there, if you could run there.
no, not really. I mean, I remember my mom has this picture I drew. I'm sure my dad probably
Yeah.
gave you some insight about it, but just me, literally terrible artist, but I was in my room doodling
He said
picture
your
of me.
sister is a good artist. Your sister
Sister
is
is a
really
very talented artist.
yes, right. But
She got
you,
all of that. I got all the athletic side.
right.
Yeah, night and day. But
Yeah, yep.
yeah, and I drew a picture and it said me in a couple years, and it's me in an Oregon uniform on Hayward Field, just like. And again, right away, like I knew it. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew how to get there. I didn't necessarily know or think that I would get there, but it was always in the back of my mind. And once I did get to to that point, I remember, I'll never forget, I was in Eugene actually, watching the Olympic trials when I got a call from the coach, Andy Powell at the time, and
Hmm.
I was just, I was like, "What is going on? Like, did he actually just call me?" And yeah, from there it was kind of no question. I took some other visits and I looked other places, but at the end of the day, I knew in the back of my mind, I'm gonna be a Duck. Like
Yeah.
that's
So the
just simple
world team
as that.
the world team trials will be there coming this summer. The world champs are going to be there this summer. It is a magical. I mean, can you describe, what it's like to? Because I've been there for the Olympic trials. I was there for the trials where you were fourth, and I want to ask you about that race as well. But can you describe what it's like to live there, train there, and have track be so important to that community in Eugene?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of locals that we literally see every day on the trails that are out there, and you can just tell it's the highlight of their day when we
It's
run by and
awesome.
we say hey and kind of just keep it moving. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of a surreal experience. I think right when you get there, you're starstruck. I got
Hmm.
there and I was kind of the last year of Old Hayward,
Right.
and I can't imagine coming in and just being introduced right away to the new Hayward Field because it's an insane facility. And
Overwhelming.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot, and
Yep.
it's getting better by the day, and yeah, and once you begin to train there, like, you go anywhere else, and it just feels like a letdown at a certain point, and, being an athlete there, you get treated so well, and, you kinda get out what you put into it, and I felt like I came in and immediately put my all into it, and yeah, from there, I mean, you'll never get the full experience of Hayward until you're an Oregon athlete
Hmm.
on the starting line. Um, I think you can come and you can be from another school or you can be a spectator and you can say, "Wow, this is awesome," but until you're at a big meet and they call your name and you hear that roar of the crowd because you're a hometown boy, you're a Duck, and
Yeah.
everyone's there to cheer you, like, you specifically on, like, you don't understand, like, what that facility can do for you.
Well, you did some awesome stuff there. I can't, it's a long list of accomplishments while you ran in collegiately there at the University of Oregon. I guess collegiate record holder in the indoor mile and distance medley. Those are two that highlight your experience. But I do want to touch on, there's, it's not a straight line to success. Never is. I've heard you talk about on another podcast that you thought that the team, and you stayed for your senior or your this last year for cross country. You thought the cross country team had something to do, had more to do, and had a chance to do something really special in cross country. Um, so you stayed before you went professional. Do you regret that decision? Because of the way cross country ended for you personally.
No, I don't regret it at all. I think, I might be more grateful for it,
Hmm.
because of how it ended rather than if it had ended maybe on a great note. Yeah, I think going into this, I knew I had options, and Cole and I were kinda on the same page, and we, kinda decided together that we were gonna stay, and we went to our cross country team camp, and after a day, we had to leave actually because there were fires and it was really smoky up there. We get
Hmm.
back and Cole told me he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna sign. I'm gonna go pro. I think it just makes the most sense for me right now."
Hmm.
And that was kind of hard because I felt like he was a really big asset, and um, I train with him every day, and I know the potential he has and the potential I had. And I think we could have really made a big impact on, the team scores and everything at
Hmm.
NCAA's. And, he did that, and I decided to kind of stick it out. And, I was really happy for him. And, but I felt like I had things to accomplish, and I felt like I was kind of getting there with every race and making big strides. And, but at the end of the day, nationals came around and, it was a whole big thing. I think I'm really grateful for that because,
Okay.
again, I think I was a bit on a hot streak and kind of felt like I was on my high horse when I went to any meet and felt like I was the guy to beat. And I think that showed me the depth of the NCAA and
Yeah.
just gave me a taste of really getting beaten, getting it handed to
Yeah.
me.
I mean, it was shocking. I remember why I thought you were going to win the race.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I
yeah,
went in thinking the same thing.
yeah.
And, but it also showed me things I had to change getting to the next level, I think I took some of my success for granted, and I think it showed me that, yeah, when you want to get to the next level and you want to be a guy who wins every race, you have to do all the little things. I think I
Yeah.
neglected that a little bit in college, and um, I got away with it for the most part.
Hmm.
And but now I know the things that I have to do, and kind of everything that goes into it. So yeah, it showed me things I have to change, things I'm doing well. But at the end of the day, it also, I think, was inspiring not only for me, but for a lot of the people that were also there, or who saw it on Twitter
Yeah.
or
I
Instagram.
mean, so for the audience who doesn't know, I mean, you blew up and just had a bad day and you could barely finish. I was surprised you were able to finish, but just wasn't your day. And it was, it was just shocking.
Yeah.
So,
No,
that
I
must've
think,
been really tough.
yeah, I felt bad because I felt like it got so much more publicity than,
Right.
Conor Mantz winning his second
Yep.
cross country title in 1 year. So I felt bad for it kind of taking away from that, but I mean, I received so much love and so much support after that. I probably got like 600 DMs after that, just
Wow.
of, peers, professionals, other collegiate racers, high schoolers, anyone it might be, just, really reaching out and extending their support for me. And, that was kind of a surreal experience, just
Yeah.
seeing how tight knit the community is, and how invested kind of everyone is in each other's success. So that was really cool and really eye opening. And it definitely brought me closer to a lot of people, and um, it made me just really grateful for
Yeah.
where I am right now and the people who are around me.
So earlier that year, and the reason why you were thought to be a favorite, and you were fourth at the Olympic trials, which you had an amazing race. You were less than a second from making the team. You already had the standard. Um, but another point that, again, it's not a straight line. That must have been tough.
Yeah, it was. There's parts of me that it really was, but I feel like I think my greatest assets is being able to look at what's next,
Yep.
and not really dwell on things that happen. Um, running obviously is kind of the center point of my life, but I feel like I have so much other stuff going on outside of it, to the point where, if something doesn't necessarily go my way, or something I just miss out on something, I can be okay with it. I can
Hmm.
dwell on it for a little bit and then I can move on. But yeah, I mean that race was crazy. I remember running the prelim and just feeling so good.
Mm.
And having all my friends there. Like everyone I loved was in the stands, and all my best friends, and it was just like such a electric atmosphere. And I remember going out there and I felt absolutely god awful. So bad.
Was it like ridiculously hot? I don't remember what the temperature was. Ridiculously
Yeah, it
hot.
was like it was like 92
It
degrees
was
or something like that. And it was at
Yeah.
like 10 a.m.
Right. Right.
Um, So, yeah, it was super
It was
hot
the
and I
hottest week ever in Eugene. It was crazy. I remember that. Yes.
insane, yeah,
Right.
and I just remember getting out there and just
Feeling like
feeling
crap.
terrible, but at the end of the day, I think that showed me more than anything, like,
Yeah.
what I'm capable of doing and how mentally strong I think I am because, a mile into the 5K, I just, like, knew I didn't have it.
Mhm.
But, I mean, I just told myself, just stay in there and kinda get through the hard part and get to the fun part. Then next thing I know, it's a lap to go and I'm making a push for
And
the
you're
lead.
there.
And, yeah, it was just like it was surreal. And the more I look back at it, the more I think I could have made that team. I think I just gave up a little bit in the last 100. But it also showed me those guys are next level. Paul Chalima went and got a medal.
Mhm.
Um, you know, Grant Fisher and Woody Kincaid, you look at what they're doing now,
Yep.
I mean, they're some of the top guys in the world. So,
Nothing to be ashamed of
um,
there, dude. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
I think
pretty
that
yeah.
that just showed me if I'm that close to them here, what can I do at the next level when, I change some stuff up and I get into the professional life and, I can focus everything I have into this sport. So, yeah, it was very eye-opening. I'm really grateful for it. It would have been awesome to, be able to call myself an Olympian right now, but,
Mhm.
um, at the end of the day, like, I was right there and I was competitive with it, and, I don't regret it at all. I'm just excited for, the next opportunity.
Yep. Yep, and
for
they're
myself.
coming, and you're really taking advantage of things currently. So you have the Olympic trials race, you have the cross country race, a lot of races obviously in between, but decide to go pro. Was that world crazy? I could talk to your dad a little bit about it. He said that leaned on your parents a little bit. You had some really good representation. Who represents you?
Isaiah Okiwa, he's
Yeah,
his group is called Riata.
and Gavin Hill, old
Mhm.
friend Gavin Hill, is working with Isaiah, right?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
that relationship like? How's that work? How's that work?
it's awesome because I feel like at the end of the day, if I need anything at all, even if it's I just have a stupid question,
Yeah.
I always have, 2 contact points depending on, what I need. And, if it's more casual, I go to Gavin. And if it's more of the business side and
Yep.
more serious, and I got to get this done now, Isai is always there. And, I can't talk highly enough about both of them. I feel like
It's great.
they have been so instrumental and, how far I've come. And there's kind of no stone left unturned when it comes
Mhm.
down to it. Isai is very methodical about what he does, and um, he wants to hit every section and hit it hard, and make sure that you're doing everything when it comes to recovery,
Mhm.
eating, sleeping, running. Like at
'Cause
the
he's
end
a
of the
coach
day,
too, right? He's a coach as well?
yeah, he's done a lot of coaching. He's a
Right.
physician, so
Yep.
he's like, I mean,
Jack of all trades.
yeah,
Wow.
there's nothing he can't do
Yeah.
really. Um,
Yeah.
and he's really helped me again this year just get to the next level and figure out what I was doing wrong and how to change that. And help me just kind of get my feet wet when it comes to the next level and all the stuff that comes with it. So I'm really grateful for both of
So
them.
was that process tough for you, or you had your parents, you had this great representation, or pretty smooth?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a little
It's
tough.
a lot. You're 22, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I basically started the process in probably May of last year.
Yeah.
That's when I kind of started. I mean, I talked to a bunch of different agents and,
Yep.
really had a great relationship with a lot of them. And um, at the end of the day, like you got to pick one and you got to
Mhm.
pick, what you're doing. I had like a couple different contracts on the table, and it was definitely tough. And I didn't want to rule anything out, but obviously it's hard not to want to lean towards Nike when
Yeah.
there's such a great relationship between, my alma mater and them. And you've been doing it for so long, and it at a certain point you kind of feel like a Nike athlete when you're at Oregon. And there was just like a great relationship there. And I was really grateful for everyone else that showed support and wanted to kind of throw the hat in the ring in sponsoring me. And um, yeah, there was like just so many great options. it,
It's
it was
awesome.
definitely a really hard decision. And from there I kind of went and I saw Cole make that decision. And
Yep.
it was really cool having him during the process as well, and not just being kind of the only person doing it. So we bounced ideas off of each other. And there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. So
Yeah.
it was definitely tough, but also throughout the whole thing, I was just excited about it. I mean, it felt like it's just the next step, and
It's crazy exciting, man, and you seem humble and you don't take it for granted, and it's crazy. You probably would have never visioned this when you're trying to do some triathlons at fifth grade, but it's crazy.
yeah.
So, um, you've mentioned Cole Hawker a couple times, and I got a couple more, and we're gonna get you out of here. Really appreciate your time, Cooper. This has
Mhm.
been awesome. So I think it's pretty rare that the level that you guys are at of talent. Now, Cole Hawker, for those who don't know, Olympian at 1500 meters. He's you guys overlap on. He's probably does more of the shorter distances, 1500, where 3K, where you're probably 3K, 5K. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think I'm making my way down to the 15 though.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Which
yeah,
I mean, yeah, you're the collegiate record holder in the indoor mile. So I mean, it's not like you can't compete at that level, obviously. But I think it's really rare to have the same both of you together at the same university at the same time. I mean, he's a couple years younger than you, but pretty much the same time, and you guys go pro together essentially. But then you're training together, you're racing together. I looked at this meet where you ran 13:06 and Cole ran 13:08. You had a little bit of a rabbit, but you don't need these races to be set up across the world. Like, you guys have what you need right here. How much of advantage is that? And it's what I'm saying makes sense? Is that a big advantage for you?
Oh my god, it's like it's people don't realize how much of an advantage it is. I just remember being in high school and not having anyone to train with and then
Mm-hmm.
getting to the next level. And you go to college and you have guys to look up to and work with. And then someone like Cole comes in who is, I feel like, a generational athlete, like you know, once every
Yeah.
very, very seldom does an athlete like him come around. And having him to push me and everything. I feel like we work so well together. And I remember him on his visit. Was like, he came to practice and we ran faster than his mile PR in practice. And I was just like, this is cool. Like, this kid will be good, but
Yeah.
never did I think he would get to the level that he's at so quickly. And it's been really cool to see. And I feel like, I mean, I love watching it because I watch it every day at practice. And I feel like I've seen him go from this kid who just came out of high school, 407 guy.
Mm-hmm.
He runs 10 seconds faster next year, and then he runs 7 seconds faster next year, and then he wins USA's, and he goes and gets fifth at the Olympics. I mean, he's a great guy, and again, at the end of the day, he's just a really good friend. And I've loved kind of going on this journey with him, and yeah, at the end of the day, when things go wrong, Cole is a guy that you can always count on. He will
Hmm.
never be out of it. I haven't ever seen him really have a bad race. And so, I mean, in that regard, like, especially in that race, we were supposed to have pacing for, 3K or 3,500, and we got about a mile.
Mile, it looked like,
And
right?
I, we got to like 2K, and I turned back and looked at him and I said, okay, I'll take 2 laps. You take 2 laps.
Wow.
And kind of from there, it's just like, we do this stuff in practice all the time. So it's nothing out of the ordinary, really. And I felt like that was just so instrumental in being able to, go and run that time. It's like, okay, I hit my splits for 2 laps, and then I tuck in and I get to kind of coast for 2 laps, and he does some work, and then we switch again. And, yeah, it shows us we can do this on our own. We're good enough.
Yeah.
Like, what happens when we go and get in a race where we're with world-class talent and we just get to coast off them? Like, kind of
Right. That's easier.
yeah, yeah, there's no telling what our, ceiling is. I don't think there is a ceiling. I think we kind of both just know how to rise to the
So
occasion.
you guys are truly friends because you got to be competitors too. So you're telling me, Cooper, you guys are really friends.
Yeah.
Good
No,
friends.
I know a lot of people who have had trouble with understanding that idea, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it does seem it's hard. But I've never looked at him as just solely a competitor.
Sure.
Like, I've just been around him so much, and again, I think it's not just him coming in and being the best. It's like me seeing him rise through the ranks, and like, I don't wanna say I was like a mentor to him, but,
Yeah.
we
You could
just
say
work
it.
so
You
well
could say
together.
it. I think
Yeah, we
so.
just work
Yeah.
so well together off the
Yeah.
bat, and we established that friendship first, before it was really super competitive. So I think we're just really happy for each other once, success comes to either of us. And yeah, at the end of the day, when you're on the line and you're in that race, you're competitors. You're
Sure.
gonna do whatever it takes to win. But the second we cross the line, happy for each other.
That's
So
awesome. All right, man. Well, I'm going to get you out of here. But I got to talk about that. The new Hayward Field is going to host the World Championships, which is just incredible. I mean, I don't know when the last time Worlds, if it ever has been. I'm not, don't know the history of it. But the fact that it's here in the States and then it's at Eugene, and you're a Duck. I mean, do you feel a lot of pressure that you got to make this team?
yeah, but at the same time, it's not pressure, it's opportunity. And I mean, I don't know, in the back of my head, it feels like I don't have to. It feels like I like want to so
Yep.
badly. And it kind of just feels, I don't want to say it feels inevitable, but it
Sure.
just feels like the next step. And I was so close and uh at trials, and I think this will be a really big year, and I'm kind of trying to figure out, what I'm gonna do, where I'm gonna be, what event I'm gonna do. So yeah, we're kind of figuring it out, and I just feel, I mean, every week I feel better than the last, and
Yep.
I feel like I've progressed tenfold just since the Olympic trials. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and I feel like it's starting to show a little bit in our races. And yeah, it's just like it's a really cool opportunity, and to do it at home in a place that I'm so familiar with, I think that's a little bit of an advantage. And I'll know how to handle the pressure because I've been in that position before. So
And and
it's
and
all
and,
about
and Cooper, I love the attitude that you feel like it's inevitable, and I don't feel like there's a cocky bone in your body when you're saying that, but that's the way you got to think, right?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, like, you get to a certain level and you think, "It's gotta be me." Like, at the end of the day, if you're giving thought to other people doing it and thinking, "Oh, maybe this will happen, maybe this will happen," you gotta just know.
Hmm.
And, at the end of the day, this is my job now
Yep.
also. It's not, "Oh, I'm running for Oregon, and,
Right.
if I make it, I make it, that's cool, it's a cherry on top." No,
You're
this is like
expected.
if I go and medal, that's a cherry on top, but,
Right.
making this team is, it's what I have to do. So, I'm just really excited, and it's a really cool opportunity. And, I don't know, I think it's just like everything's kinda coming together, and Eugene is the place to be this year, so I feel really grateful that, I have some experience there. And, it's where I live, it's where I train, it's where I
Yeah.
breathe.
So 13:06 at Stanford, you got to be running the 5K, or are you thinking another event? 1500. What do you think?
I'm thinking why not both?
Yeah.
You can do it with the schedule, I think. And
Yep.
I think my 1500 stuff is coming around. Obviously, you got to knock out that standard, got to
Sure.
continue to progress. But yeah, I think there's opportunity there for both. And I mean, the US is so deep in both. So
Oh, absolutely.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll figure it out when the
We'll
time
figure
comes.
it
But
out. Yeah.
right now, it's just checking boxes on the way.
Yep. Yep. All right, man. Well, I've really enjoyed talking to Ron, getting to know your dad, Dave. Thanks to your whole family for helping make this possible. Really enjoyed getting to meet you. I'll be in Eugene for the trials. I'll be in Eugene. You're gonna have tons of fans, so maybe we'll get to meet in person, but for the worlds as well. But keep doing it, man. You got a big fan here, the Pace the Nation, the listeners of this show, big fan of you. So yeah, man. So where can we see you next before I let you go? Where are you going to race next?
I think we're gonna be in Eugene for the most part. There's a couple little
Okay.
meets, and I think the first real big one is pre-classic in about a month and a half. So, yeah,
Awesome.
kind of just
Yeah.
nose to the
Yeah.
grindstone, and knock out some training, and then hopefully some big racing this spring.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, we can see you. We don't have to go to Eugene. That's going to be on national TV for the pre-classic. So that'll be fun to watch you compete there. All right, Cooper. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Likewise. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. All right, there he goes. Cooper Teare. He's a professional athlete for Nike. He's a collegiate record holder and just a stud. And he's going to make that world team. It's inevitable. All right, he joined us on Pace the Nation. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Pace the Nation is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 6 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
All right, welcome back to the program. And thanks again to our guest today, Cooper Teare, who joined us on Pace the Nation. What an awesome interview. Really enjoyed Cooper, really enjoyed getting to meet his family and, reconnecting with one of his big mentors, Ron Wayne. Thanks again to Mike Gugat for connecting it and making that possible. Give Cooper a follow, Cooper Teare on Instagram, Cooper exclamation point on Twitter. And I'm hoping he'll promote this interview through those channels. All right. So next week, Julie will be back, or the next podcast, Julie will be back. I know people will look forward to that. Maybe maybe you won't look forward to our stories about me inadequately raising our kid and stuff like that. But I got a couple stories I got to run by her for the next week's show, and more importantly, a couple of really good guests coming up. So we're leading up to the World Champs. We're going to sprinkle in some World Championship type folks like Cooper in the interview schedule, and some other average shows like the rest of us. So we got a lot of great guests coming up. So tell your friends. Really appreciate everybody spreading the good word about Pacers. Pacers podcast, Pace the Nation. All right. Thanks again to our guest, Cooper Teare. Thanks to Chris behind the scenes making this all work. And thanks to you, the audience. This has been episode 269. I'm Chris Farley for Pace the Nation. We'll see you next time.